Good morning and welcome, Patriot News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Friday. I hope it finds you well out there, wrapping up another crazy week. Gold right now as it sits would be a new all-time record high close. We've touched 2,500 TV gold. Right? So funny. Remember on the TV, this is the December contract. They always show the most heavily traded contract. That's already at 25.25. But right now we got gold 24.90. We got silver around 28.50. Kind of a quiet day on Wall Street after all the hubbub with the retail sales and jobless claims. And I don't know, right? Are they going to cut rates? Can they cut rates? They need to cut rates. How bad? We had deficit numbers, right? Second highest July on record as far as government debt goes. We've got, still waiting. Is Iran going to retaliate, not retaliate? We don't know. But once again, I think gold and silver are telling you and showing you this is the place to be. 800-951-0592. Not a lot of data out today. I'm expecting, but I don't know, but I'm expecting Wall Street to be relatively calm. We got housing starts and permits, and it's very, very negative, I guess. Down 6.8%. They're expecting it to be down about 1%. Permits were down 4%. Again, they were expecting only down 2%. Back all the way now to the COVID lows. Single-family starts plunging. Multifamily, right? That's about the only thing they're doing. So once again, as we know, right, they're building the apartments. They're building the condos because, let's face it, most Americans won't be able to afford to buy the housing of the future. And guess what? Who's to blame for it? It's not, the president. It's not anybody other than the central banks and these idiotic economic policies. Well, let's face it. It's the same policy. Idiotic. It's just print, and then Subway. Apparently, a emergency meeting held at Subway as sales apparently have fallen off a cliff. Subway had a meeting with its 19,000 franchises as they're grappling with, falling sales, falling profits. We'll have to see. Same-store sales are down between 5 and 10%. They're saying, and the only foot traffic they're getting is they're calling it crazy coupons. In other words, hey, we're only buying the things that are on sale, so we'll wait. I don't know what that means as far as Subway goes. My guess is we're going to see a rash of bankruptcy filings, because that's kind of what we've seen. But somehow, I don't know, retail sales was through the roof. That's what they said. That's what they said yesterday, that retail sales were up 1%. But, as we keep watching all of these things play out, the retailers are saying, no, the only retailer so far that's had a really good number was Walmart. Walmart yesterday, fantastic. It really was. And it was so funny listening to the CEO and the CFO talk, because they were talking about, right now we got the wealthy people coming. Yeah, the rich people are now shopping here. I don't know if they left Whole Foods to go to Walmart, or maybe Costco to go to Walmart. I don't know, but that's what they said. Hey, we're doing okay because, you know what? The people that had more money that didn't, they're too good to shop at Walmart. Apparently, Walmart's going to do just fine when you need to stretch the dollars, but Again, Jason, the data yesterday said you can't cut rates. That's a no rate cut day to day. Today, with housing starts, I guess you could say, yes, you could cut them, but really, what the housing starts were is they've stopped building new homes because they can't sell them, but they didn't stop building an apartment. So everybody get ready. All of us will be in our 15-minute cities, right? And you'll have your government-subsidized apartment as long as you follow the rules with your digital currency.
I was looking at this thing and trying to, because we got to report what's going on today, right, Joe? It's hard to, report what happened 2 years ago. Right. But do you remember when they were promising rate cuts in 2023? Do you remember that at all? Do you remember they were saying, hey, we think we can get some rate cuts in 2023? And then it didn't happen. This one gentleman I was watching is like, that's going to be the future. Promises for rate cuts that just never seem to quite happen. The markets have the hopes of a rate cut. It's always around the corner, but then it never shows up. That's what this guy is saying. He's like, we're always going to be talking about it. It's coming. It's coming. And it doesn't ever see. That's what he's thinking. And then if the inflation comes back, then that's it. Then you start pushing it higher. Joe, at this point, it just seems like with the data that you report every day and with what's actually going on, nothing would surprise me, Joe. I guess when it comes down to it, those inflation numbers, the CPI, it just needs to get a little lower, doesn't it? The inflation numbers have to get a little lower before they would really cut the rates. But I don't know. An emergency happens, suddenly it's cut, baby, cut, right?
Right. That's right. Yeah. Any bad day. Remember, there were emergency rate cuts just a week ago. Take the Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour on this Friday. The year of chaos continues. Right now, looking at the markets here, pretty quiet. Dow's down 5 points. S&P's down 5 points. The NASDAQ's down 26. The 10-year note, 391. Crude oil off $1.50. Of course, gold, we've already told you, gold's up $33 right now. $24.90 on gold. It's been as high as $2,500. Again, we close here, be a new all-time record high in gold. It's not done. It's not done. We've been telling you for the last, pretty much all year, right? $2,700. $2,700. That's what we've been saying. This is where it's going. Next year, right, they've already, 3,000's kind of already penciled in, right? I don't know. Obviously, we have to speculate on it, but gold is continuing in a surprising way, really, when you think about the data from yesterday. Right? Gold should be down based on that news. Instead, it did the exact opposite. It's just showing you the strength now in the ETFs in North America finally starting, right? We're seeing big ETF inflows. That's the only piece that had been missing. And Jason, it's in. They know, like they're getting ready here. Silver not playing today. Right now, silver's flat. 28.31 on silver. But of course, yesterday we had that silver spectacular. We sold everything out there yesterday. It was just a great opportunity for some, I guess, as Jason called it, cool silver coins. We'll try to do one of those maybe again next week. We'll see. But be diversified. This is you had this year of chaos to get it ready, to get it done. Right? And I'm speculating. It feels like wherever the top is, did we already have the top? Maybe, right? Could be. Maybe we try to get back there again if there's rate cuts. But wherever the top is this year, that may be the top for a long time. You know you need to have your gold and silver. We all get it. And the more you have, the better off you're going to be. But for the rest of that stuff, if you got $50,000 or more, check out YREFI. Why? Why do I keep talking about it? Well, because they offer great fixed rates of return, up to 10.25%. You can use it as income. I don't know. Maybe somebody out there, hey, I'm gonna put $1 million in there, and I'm gonna live off that interest, right? I'm gonna supplement my Social Security and get a bunch of wealth going that I don't have to lower my standard of living. I don't have to worry about it. It's not correlated to Wall Street. You don't have to worry about the big crash. Kind of cool. You can compound it. You can do whatever you want with it. They never attack your principal. And believe me, when you call them and they walk you through the process, because I was like you guys, listen, I hooked up with Lane at YREFI a couple of years ago. He called me up and said, hey, Joe, can we have a meet? I want to talk to you. I want to lay this out. And we sat down, and I'm like, all right, come on. How can you offer 10.25%? That's ridiculous. That doesn't work, right? What is it? Come on. You're pulling one over. And he just laid it all out. And believe me, I walked away from there going, man, that's the type of American ingenuity that we need. This is something where the Biden administration, student loan for better. We're going to talk about student loans right now. Nobody's paying them. Check these guys out. They're the real deal. InvestYREFI.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y. REFY.com. Or just call them. 888-YREFI24. Really quickly before we get to the student loans, Dillard's, the latest retailer, saying, hey, sales suck. Same-store sales at Dillard's down 8.5%. And listen, I guess they can say whatever they want about what retail sales are. Every retailer outside of Walmart is telling us it's brutal out there. But listen to this. So, according to the government now, here's the thing. There's two types of student loans. There's government student loans. The government gives $5,000 a year. Okay, and anybody that's got a son or a daughter or a grandson or granddaughter that's approaching college or is at college age, you can't even go to community college for $5,000. Just can't get done. Right? You go to, I don't know, U of A or ASU, Grand Canyon, it's like $20,000. So you've got the federal student loans, which they give you $5,000. So if you did it all 4 years, that's $20,000. Right? Then you've got the private student loans, where YREFI comes in. Because, if you actually want to go, you need more than $5,000. A report now showing that 40% of student loan borrowers are making their payments. That's it. That means 60%. Think about that. Who in their right mind would loan based on this stuff? Right? Could you imagine, we're going to do home loans and 60% of the people aren't going to pay? What would the banks do? Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. Credit cards. Hey, we're going to issue all credit cards, but 60% of you aren't going to pay. It's idiotic. And now the government is saying that this is on the government side. Nearly 43 million people have student loan debt. Only 13 million, Jason, are actually making their payments out of the 43. What are people going to do? Could you imagine? Think about how bad the economy would be if these other 30 million people had to pay their student loan. Could you imagine what it would look like? How many people would get evicted? Right? Because I'm sure that's the choice that's being made. I can either pay the rent or I can pay my student loan. And of course, They're the ones that told us we've got to be more educated. They're the ones that said, well, you got to go to college or be left behind. And guess what? All as they've done, Jason, is saddled this generation. It's loaded with debt. And I don't care if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. There's student debt everywhere. And according to the government, most people have decided just simply not to pay.
What are we getting for all that higher education? That's sounds like the bankers are cashing in on this thing, man. You know, all the interest on these loans, and what are we getting out of it? You know, it's not like America's competing well in the world society when it comes to. I mean, I guess we're getting AI. Is that what we're getting out of this? Or is this part of the cost of AI? This loan technological thing that the country's hanging their economic hopes on? What percentage you say? Did you say a percentage was still paying or a percentage was not paying school loans? How big is that number again?
Okay, so according to the government, only 40% of people are paying their loans. The problem is, here's the problem with that, is the math, and I only went to public school. The math says only 30% are paying. Right? I mean, you got 43 million people with student loans and only 13 million are paying that. I don't know how they get 40, but I get 30. But it's insanity to think that you've got over 30 million people that aren't paying on their student loans. And we're talking about this economy and retail sales are up 1%. I mean, and of course, think about it. Why is the government saying, oh, we should just forgive it? Just forgive it. Don't pay your bills. And I think, Jason, this is where we're going to be heading. I think very soon we're going to enter into a world where when the digital currencies come around, that the government will do stuff like this. Hey, we'll pay for your college. We'll pay off your loans. We'll subsidize your rent. We'll put you on food stamps. But you have to do the following jobs.
Yeah.
Right? You have to live in the following locations. Right? You give up your car. Agree to some form of carbon initiative to help climate change. And if you do all these things, right, then we'll give you these benefits and you can pretend that you're a productive member of society. I mean, this is where it's heading.
I think they will pay off those school loans. The trick,
right, yeah.
I think
if you're a teacher, a firefighter, a cop, right? Climate change
Joe, I think
warrior.
that's the problem. So if they decide to pay off 1% or all the school loans, the problem is obviously the only reason to do so. The only reason that a bank would want to enter into this situation, not collect interest, is because they want to keep their system in place. I mean, let's face it, who likes the federal government? Who actually would you talk to? Do you like our federal government? Who actually says yes to that question? I don't care what side of the aisle that you're voting, right? And so how do you get any kind of government loyalty without social programs? Hey, I got to be loyal to the government. It's my paycheck, right? Or I'll be loyal to the government because they paid off my school loans. They can't do that, Joe, unless they decide they have to also, this is going to be like a bailout. Maybe the next market crash, they do the school loan forgiveness, but then they're going to have to cut checks for all those responsible kids that actually paid their school loans. The only way to make people happy about the government giving away something for free is they got to give it to the people that were responsible enough to pay their school loans. And during COVID, they paid everyone money, so I don't see why not. So maybe they're talking about it a lot so that when the emergency happens, and that's the only way that you can get people to be loyal to the government now, Joe, is you have to pay them. You have to give them something, right? The only way they can do school loans is they got to think about it. I mean, your son's paid for their college. What do they get for paying for school? You know, and I know that they probably had scholarships or whatnot, but everybody else that had to pay for school that actually paid it, they will create an enemy of the state if they don't give them something. And I have a feeling a little check will just be sent to everybody, Joe, when they do this.
Say this. What is it telling to the 13 million that are paying? Right.
They're going to have to get money.
Right. What's going to happen here? And I think this is another one of these setups here. When we talk about what comes next and digital currencies and debt, banks, right? We're talking about elimination of thousands of banks. I mean, Janet Yellen's already said it out loud. Yeah, we could lose 4,000, but we don't need 4,000 banks. I mean, heck, we probably don't need 400 banks. And all of the debt that exists out there, I just see this setup coming where the government is going to outline for the new middle class. The new middle class will probably own nothing, but don't worry, the government will take care of your school debt. The government will give you some form of housing assistance, food assistance. I mean, we already do it now. I mean, think about this. 43 million people have student loan debt. 43 million people are on food stamps, right? I don't know how many of them are the same, right? There's a percentage of that they have both. But as things get more and more out of reach, this is how they're going to get control, Jason. They'll use all of this as a weapon on the citizenry. We'll be back. By the way, how good is YREFI? Because you hear that, you're like, well, God, why should I do that? You know how many people pay their loans? 90, I want to say it's like 99.4%. Even during COVID, when they had said to their people, hey, you don't have to pay. If you're out of work, you don't have to pay no more. 95% were still paying. Now it's back to 99. It just tells you the quality of what they do. But, man, big story breaking here. I'll get to it in just a minute. I got a very small special today. I've got 25 Mint State 63 Saints. We've had a few opportunities in the last couple of weeks with some graded stuff. Right now, a $20 gold piece. Saint Liberty, $2,740. You got gold, $2,500. I've got 25 Mint State 63 Saints, PCGS, NGCs, $2,700. So it's going to be $40 below. I think last week we ran them at the same price, right? Today, $40 below. You're going to get MS63, $20 Saints. This is it's an outright steal. But I only got 25. I don't have 26, don't have 27, got 25 of them. 800-951-0592. Keep adding here. Things are getting weird. Big story breaking. USAA. Now, USAA, a lot of people, oh, that's insurance. Well, they're a bank too, right? Of course they are, right? All of these big guys. Oh, we're Charles Schwab, wait, we're a bank too. And if American Express, we're a bank too, right? Everybody's a bank. Why? So they get bailout money. There's a new problem happening, and it's happening everywhere. Hackers, the great digital age, stealing from people's bank accounts. Apparently at USAA, they've got a bigger problem than most. They're saying that it now has a Facebook group, USAA Fraud and Victims, 3,700 members. Let me say that again, 3,700 members. You leave large amounts of money in your bank, you're an idiot. Sorry. Sorry, dude. Go out to All American Gold today. See the article out there? They believe that hackers have stolen everybody's Social Security number in the entire country. That's the one number they need to have to do what they need to do. But apparently, these fraudsters are getting into USAA and emptying their bank accounts. And USAA is telling these people, sorry, not our fault, right? And leaving them with no recourse, according to the Better Business Bureau. I love this. Now, I'm a member. I pay to be a member of the Better Business Bureau because, I don't know. Jason and I are dumb. I don't know. We just do, right? And every year they charge us more money. We've never had a complaint. You know what? Think about this. What is this, year 28 now for Patriot? You know how many Better Business Bureau complaints we've had? 0. It's never happened. USAA, according to the Better Business Bureau, 4,122 complaints in just the last 3 years. Because the Better Business, they only do 3 years, right? That's all they'll show. 4,122 complaints. By the way, if you actually look at it, no one has more complaints in the country than banks do. It's ridiculous, and somehow they get shielded. And here's the sad thing about this. Because when you sign up for these bank accounts, and you click OK, and you initial and you sign, like this should be a class action lawsuit. Obviously, there's something wrong here. But guess what? Legally, you're not allowed to do it. You can't do it. And, Jason, these people are at the mercy of the bank. They're saying that a data breach affected 19,000 of their members. And yet they're getting their money stolen, and the bank is like, well, it's not our fault. Too bad. Not our fault. Too bad. Sorry, but I got to pay my mortgage. Well, you don't have any money in your account. Yeah, but the people I live, and listen to this, people like, hey, I live in Arizona. And they're saying, well, somebody in Louisiana took the money. Well, but I don't live in Louisiana. Obviously, I didn't take it. That's you that did this. I didn't get breached. You got breached, but they've been left with no recourse. So right now, the bank is refusing to make these people whole. And Jason, it just seems like it grows by the day here.
Is it, you don't hold it, you don't own it? Is that what this is? How many times with paper assets does that come true? If you don't hold it, you don't own it. I don't like it. If I have to, and I have to, I have to have some money in my bank so I can pay the bills, and if there's if you have an investment, yes, there's risk. But you would think with certain things, you would hope that the money is there when you need it, right, Joe? But more and more, you keep bringing up stories where if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And if somebody's either made a mistake or corruptly just taken something, you're the one that pays. And they'll probably just show you some fine print. Well, remember this thing you signed? If someone steals it from our side, here in the small print it says, well, it's your risk. And Joe, it's just it's tough to hear when people get ripped off by these things.
San Antonio News 4 reporting that several USAA members that they've talked to who've lost funds due to this have been left with little to no recourse. In other words, the bank is just not responding. They're also saying that a lot of these people have alerted the bank. They called. Hey, I just noticed somebody just withdrew $10,000. It's not me. There's suspicious activity. The bank did nothing, and then all of a sudden, more and more money kept leaving these people's accounts, and the bank literally did nothing about it. And I'm going to just tell you right now, you need to read the fine print. Most people don't. Most people are like, oh, that won't happen. They can't do that. Yes, they can, and they are. And guess what? You're left with nothing until the bank decides to do something about it. Yeah, how are you going to pay your bills while that's all going on? MS63 Savings, the deal of deals, $2,700. Jason and I are going to be right back. 800-951-0592. And think about it, this is you. I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in my bank because I like it. I get it, right? I'm a saver. I live within my means, and I like seeing my bank account every month that says I've got 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is in my account. It makes me feel good. You're playing a dangerous game. According to the comptroller of the currency, USAA had a data breach as a contractor shared their credentials with unauthorized individuals. Okay, so what does that mean? Yeah, these criminals got USAA to hire them, shared the credentials, and went in and basically got all the information they needed on 19,000 of their banking customers. The bank in 2022 paid $140 million in fines for falling behind in reporting suspicious transactions. They've released a statement that said that, boy, ready for this? They told San Antonio 4, bank fraud is an unfortunate reality for financial institutions around the world, but they remain committed to fighting fraud and protecting their members. Now, that was the statement they gave. According to News 4 San Antonio, they were able to convince the bank to resolve 5 cases and actually give these people their money back. 5 cases. That's it. That's all they've done. Right? All the other people, yeah, they're sitting there going, well, what about me? Right? Well, where is my money? And Jason, this is part of the thing why I tell people you're better off. Have enough money. You got to have money in there to pay your bills. Got to do that. You're better off putting that money into gold. Imagine if this happened. Say it happened to you. Here's the one nice part. You could call us up, sell some of that gold, and be able to pay your mortgage, be able to buy food. These people got their it wasn't like they just took a little bit. Right? That's not what these fraudsters do. They take everything. They drain your account. How are you supposed to live? How are you supposed to make your payments? And let's face it, most people, Jason, they got this stuff on auto pay. Right? So what happens now? Bounce fee, bounce, right? They're bouncing checks everywhere, right? They're racking up these fees. And the sad part is, all of these banks, and I'm picking on USAA right now, but believe me, this is what they all do. They all do it. Sorry, not all. We'll investigate it. We'll get back to you. And then days go by. You call them up. Oh, we're still investigating. What the hell are you investigating? I live in Texas. I live in Arizona. Some guy in a different state somehow took I wasn't in that state. Right? It wasn't me. Right? It should be, well, we're investigating. We'll get back to you. This happened, I'll just say this, full disclosure. It happened to my youngest son. He eventually got his money. Almost 90 days later. Fortunately, he had the bank of mom and dad to help him out. right? Because it wasn't. But could you imagine not having access to your money for 90 days?
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen.
That's a huge penalty. You know, time is money. How many times have you we haven't said that on the air in a long time, but time is money. You know, especially in a society that moves as fast as today. Yeah, you can't have 90 days hold on your money. But it's funny, Joe, because I remember seeing. It's been a while since we covered China's economic woes, but some of those guys they have the social credit score thing going on, and the banks are having problems, and suddenly everything's on their cell phones there in China, and you get the big red screen that says you have no access to your money. Then you have to go to the bank, where there's a 2-day wait to see to the bank. 2 days. You get in a line. Don't leave that line, right, Joe? Make sure you have somebody to hold your spot, and then 2 days later you get to talk to somebody, and then they ask you a whole bunch of invasive questions. But to demean you and make you feel like you did something really horrible, and then they give you back your money. And so, Joe, 90 days, that 2-day wait in line or 90 days because there's nothing you can do about it. Those are two horrible situations, right? Who wants to wait in line 2 days to ask permission to get back into your account? That is horrible.
Think about this. Can't pay your rent, can't pay your mortgage. If you're renting, they're not going to wait 90 days before they evict you, right? That's not happening. Having excess money in your bank is a very, very dangerous game. Money markets, a very, very dangerous game. People don't think it's dangerous. But again, look at what I just read to you. Right? This wasn't on the stock channels. Fox and Friends didn't tell you about it. Jimmy Cramer, the Booyah Man, isn't telling you these stories, but this is what's happening. And just imagine in a banking crisis what this would look like. Ms63 Savings, $2,700, $40 below a regular St. Gaudens or Liberty today at 800-951-0592. Final segment for the week. Jason, I'm going to wrap it up right after this. Eight 800-951-0592. It's disturbing when you see things like this where in your mind, you're like, okay, no, come on, I'll just call them up. Obviously, it's fraud, right? Blah, blah, blah. And they just put I'm telling you, it's not how it works. And listen, I'll just be honest with you guys about it. I'm a big deal at my bank. Why? Because I'm a big Patriots, a big depositor. Period. They love it. Matter of fact, that's how a lot of the banks, that's how they, a lot of their hours are based on deposits, right? The bigger the depositor you are, the more important you are. And when my son had it, and he's a college kid, and it wasn't like, he only had a couple $1,000s in there. 90 days. When they finally gave him his money back. And I'm sitting here thinking about USAA saying, well, fraud's just the way it is. Just the way it is, and, you just got to deal with it. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. And I've been telling everybody for decades, the money in your bank account is not yours. People get mad at that. Oh, my gosh, do they get mad. You show me the act of Congress and this and that. No, it's not act of Congress. Congress has no say on it. Do you know how long that's been the law, by the way? Hundreds of years before America was ever a country. Yeah, I know. Shocker. Banks existed before the United States existed. It's actually determined in England, if you want to know. No shock there, right? Hey, the Rothschilds, they're not dumb, okay? Have you not figured it out yet? Ms63 Saints, this is a stupid price. I'm shocked here. I'm watching thinking, okay, how are you not jumping at this? It's an outrageous deal. You're talking about a coin that's like, I don't know, $2,800 and something dollars, and I'm going to give it to you for $2,700 today. 800-951-0592. Tell you what, leave your money in the bank. And then let me know how that works out for you here in the next 2 to 3 years. Let me know how that works. You know what I'm saying? Because it's coming. These debts are going to be paid. They're going to be paid. And I'm not talking about the national debt. I'm talking about the bank's debts. And by the way, Dodd-Frank and all that with the financial, all as they did was make certain that the depositors will pay. That's what they did. You don't want to take my word for it. You don't want to take Lynette Zhang's word for it. You don't want to take anybody that actually knows anything about banking law's word for it. That's on you. Ask these guys at USAA if the money was theirs, right, Jason? They'll tell you. Just go ask them.
What is that saying? Possession is 9/10 of the law?
Well, they got the other 10% too. When you initialed there and signed there and clicked OK, they covered you 100%. Patriot Radio News Hour. God bless everybody. Jason and I, we're going to come right back with the final half-ending cup of the week.